Yeah.
You don't know
Yeah,
who
you
he
can
is.
make it out of this.
He's the.
This,
He's like.
although
He's
then.
taller. Yeah, I know. But you know me just from.
Well, this whole piece
Oh,
would
that.
be out of it.
I know you is from this.
So your back would be, like these are two-tone, you could do three tones, or
That's right.
It would be this for me because it ends there.
yeah, and then it's gonna come off of this. Decisions.
Do I look okay? You didn't do my makeup.
You look great.
I don't know if I can say like X, Y, and Z are the things that I learned at Putney, and it's because of Putney. But I think Putney really ingrained a lot of values that I already had and reinforced who I was as a person. And Putney inspired me to try a bunch of different things, right? We have all of our different evening activities. And I took woodworking and blacksmithing and stained glass and a whole bunch of different other ones. And I think having that experience of trying new things all the time really has inspired me to want to work with different materials. My freshman year, I was trying to figure out who I was and what kind of areas of Putney I wanted to dive deeper into. So I tried a whole bunch of different things. I was in the orchestra and jazz ensemble playing the trumpet, and did some photography. In the summers, I would work on the farm. And my senior year, I lived in the Gray House cabin and decided to do a senior exhibition. I built the eagle over by the Putney Puddle. And that's a great example. Like, I had done some sculpture, sort of. Like, I'd done some blacksmithing, and I took a lot of ceramics classes. But for whatever reason, I got it in my head that I wanted to do a metal sculpture of an eagle and study birds of prey. And I remember the first day, right, I had this little plastic eagle that I was using as my model. And it was the first day of our exhibition, and Joe, I think he was teaching another sculpture class, and I went in there and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I created I started by trying to create like an outline of the bird's body. So I had, a piece of metal bent into the shape of the head of the bird and then going into the body. And I remember Joe coming in, he was like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? And because I had made, the body was going to be huge. I was going to create a sculpture that was, 3 or 4 feet high and 6 feet wide. And I think Joe sort of had in his mind that I was going to create like a little miniature sculpture or something. But no, I wanted to create this huge thing. And it took him by surprise. And then he rallied, and, we, I think, got on the same page a little more or whatever, and he was really supportive, and I just went at it and created a sculpture that I'm really proud of. I mean, I think the big things are like the love of arts, for sure, the ability to dream up a harebrained idea and be able to say yes to it, to sort of follow my dreams. I think back to, like, Joe could have told me, no, you need to create a smaller sculpture. But instead, he took a deep breath and really embraced my idea. And sort of that background and that philosophy ingrained in me here at Putney to try lots of new things. And just because I hadn't done something before didn't mean that I couldn't be good at it or try to do it. It has really shaped who I am today. I built a bamboo bike and biked across the country. And that was 9 weeks of biking. And my bike broke 2 days into it, and it was like I had this critical moment of do I go home and rebuild my bike and get back on the road? Or do I go home, get my other bike, and finish it on a steel frame bike? You know, I was like, I'm always going to kick myself if I don't try fixing it and try it one more time. And so we drove back and we had to, you know, strip down the first joint that I made was the one that broke. And so we took it all the way apart, put in another metal gusset, built it back together. And then my mom went and dropped me back off, and it lasted 4,000 miles. And, you know, Putney really inspires kids to do that. We have our sheep to shawl, right? Like, it's the same philosophy of students starting with sheep on our farm, shearing them, spinning and dyeing the wool from our natural dye garden, and then weaving fabric and sewing clothes. Like, that same philosophy is what I really embrace in these adventures of, I'm going to start with a tree and turn it into a boat, or take bamboo and, you know, build a bike. And I think you get a much deeper connection with what you are trying to accomplish when you're starting from scratch. You know, I go through different waves. Sometimes I'll get really into woodworking and I'll want to do furniture design or make ukuleles or banjos or whatever it is. And then I've gotten into the blacksmithing kick, or weaving, or, you know, right now I'm into shoemaking. So I go through all sorts of different kind of phases and get really into it. And it's really fun to see how different materials translate to each other. You get to figure out what the strengths and weaknesses of different materials are and how to combine them together is pretty cool. I mean, it feels really good to be back teaching and working with students. That more one-on-one connection with students has been really valuable for me. I think shoemaking's been really fun because most of the students are really engaged and excited about it. And I'm a little worried that I was more ambitious and thought we could move at a faster pace than we have been moving at. You know, because I want everyone to come away wearing a pair of shoes that they designed, that are custom to their feet, and that they've sewed. Most students are just finishing their patterns, which is a lot of the work. And so I'm hoping the leather sewing and putting everything together will go faster. But it feels good to, you know, just be working with students again and helping inspire folks to do something that seems crazy. Like, I would never have thought that I could make my own pair of shoes when I was in high school, and to be able to do that is kind of cool. And jack of all trades, master of none, I would say.